Hello there, good evening. Today I thought I'd change things up a little bit and talk about Trump versus Biden in the debate, their first one, uh, based on what I watched. I didn't watch that much of it. Basically the highlights. I saw what Bernie Sanders had to say about it. He did an interview with Jimmy Kimmel. Um, and there's a lot of points actually, based on what little I saw, that are worth noting and are topics of discussion on their own. But I'm briefly gonna give a summary of what I saw and what I interpreted. I couldn't see somebody clearly winning that debate. It was quite obvious that the host was pro Joe Biden. Every time Donald Trump spoke, from what I saw, he began to interrupt him and began to talk to him like Donald Trump was being erratic or something like that and needed to be controlled. Excuse me, I realize you're from a prestigious university and you're the host of the show, but that's the president. So show some respect whether you like Donald Trump or not. Donald Trump wasn't going to sit there and take that from the host, letting him dictate how the conversation was. And I saw a lot of the questions he was asking, and they were quite pointy at Donald Trump, going, "Oh, what are you going to do about replacing Obamacare? You haven't done anything, blah, blah, blah. Are you going to release your tax statements?" All the usual kind of shit, right? Um, and those weren't the type of questions that were asked against Joe Biden. He got it a lot kinder. And he kept referring to him as Vice President Joe Biden. He is not Vice President Joe Biden. He is former Vice President Joe Biden. There is a huge difference. Um, I do believe that old Joe should definitely have some sort of blood test that's fairly done, and same with Donald Trump, although I'm not going to be expecting to see the same sort of things because people keep focusing on his cognitive function. Um, they're saying that it's not up to spec and that he's Sleepy Joe for a reason. But there's another reason why, in particular, having a blood work done on a cognition, because there are pharmaceutical drugs out there that improve cognition, which is what Sleepy Joe would need during the debate. Because when I've seen Joe Biden on TV, you can't be serious. This guy can't be president. A lot of people say that about Donald Trump, but in a debate, there's no way Joe Biden can win. All he was doing was calling Trump a liar whenever he made any point. It's the simplest answer. Call him a liar, and people who support you will believe it whether they actually really do or not, just because it suits their own interests. On one hand, you get old Joe saying, we're going to focus on the American people and we're going to be giving them money. And then I actually didn't hear Joe Biden say this, but I heard Bernie Sanders say it, that Joe Biden is prepared to transform the energy system into a clean one, trillions of dollars. Excuse me, where the hell is all this money coming from? I'll tell you where. It's called a phony promise. A fucking lie. The thing is, Joe Biden doesn't have to prove anything at this point in time. He can just say all the nice things he wants and then renege on them after the fact if he were, in some sort of horrible way, able to win the presidential election. I'm sure Bernie Sanders has a lot of points that are they're very accurate. However, I have noticed, if others have not, that it's more about him destroying Donald Trump than promoting Joe Biden. That's what everything has been geared towards as far as the media goes, and what a lot of politicians have been saying, and what a lot of people think over the last 4 years. It's not about making the system better, it's about destroying Donald Trump. And it also reminds you of the fact, while this Antifa, Black Lives Matters, and all those other sort of things, which have quite often led to destructive consequences, they couldn't help but start pointing the fingers at Donald Trump, saying, oh, white supremacists and blah, 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 blah. Well, you take Donald Trump and his supporters, yes, some of them are going to be white supremacists. Guess what? Some of Joe Biden's supporters are white supremacists. They just are for other reasons. And not only that, supremacy, that word has been turned into a dirty word. The thing is, it doesn't mean racism necessarily. It means dominance, power, and it means a whole pile of other things. And what Joe Biden is doing is he's gathering up the leaves of the American population and trying to formulate a legitimate voting base. So he's taking, basically any food scraps of the electoral that he can, because nobody with a straight face can honestly say that Joe Biden has been outstandingly professional in his capabilities. It's there for everyone to see. Because you don't want to hear it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, and that his shortcomings are not real. But getting back to the whole, what's he going to do as far as healthcare? He scrapped the Obamacare, and he put some things forward, but he doesn't have a plan necessarily. Well, it would help if a lot of people weren't constantly attacking him for everything he does. And you can't deny that. Again, whether you want to hear it or not, that's the truth, that there's always someone, particularly in the media, so they have some power, but, they don't make all the decisions, constantly attacking Donald Trump. And when you have that, it is difficult to pass certain things. As we all know, the Senate and the House are ran primarily by two different parties, really. It's, like I said, every time Donald Trump went to speak, the host acted like he was out of control. He was there to be the mediator. He had to tell Donald Trump, please let Joe Biden finish. Please. Like in a telling him what to do kind of manner. I mean, had Donald Trump cow down to that would have been very embarrassing. And I couldn't stand watching this this pile of dog shit that they called a debate. It was irritating. Watching the highlights was basically about as far as I was going to go with it. Like, all these things Joe Biden promised, he made no action to fulfill any of those things while he actually was the vice president. Maybe that wasn't specifically his job, or, what his interests were at the time, but the Obama administration did not address those problems. So you get Joe Biden going up there and making all these promises, before the election, and again, he doesn't have to commit to any of them. And I do believe that the COVID crisis would have happened under any administration. So happens it happened on the Donald Trump's one, and Joe Biden was quick to point out that he was the worst American president ever. Meanwhile, Joe Biden was the vice president to Barack Obama, another highly ineffectual president who actually did commit the most individual wars of any president in the United States history. There's been many debacles, and there's no way you can honestly say Donald Trump is the worst president. Like, there have been so many presidents that have been way worse than him. I mean, you take George Bush, for example. He wasn't very good, was he? I understand that, shit happens. Like 9/11, that happened. I had a conspiracy video about that. You don't have to delve too far back into the past to find fundamental, fundamental flaws in the whole debate process. And I do not think that this is unbiased, fair, and basically on board. This was definitely to paint Donald Trump as the bad guy, as everything always does. And, it's really quite a pity that they have to resort to this lowball type of pitching the arguments and debates. I hope the future ones are a little bit better. They probably will be. Because who knows, maybe Joe Biden's taking a little something to help him think better. But at this present time, it sounds like what it is. It sounds like, I don't really believe in the left, and I don't really, believe in the right either, in the sense that, the left is morphed into something. It's really quite grotesque if you think about it. I mean, they're all about LGBTQ stuff, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, basic chaos. They're like out of control hippies on steroids or something. And it's quite the perversion of what Karl Marx had in mind when he wrote his books. Whereas the right, despite its many flaws, is fairly consistent. Those neoliberals, they're the ones responsible for the tearing down of historical statues. That, to some people, is considered chaos. To other people, it's a party. And Joe Biden doesn't know the difference between the two. Because somehow he's managed to distance himself from that, but take credit for their virtue signaling, which was written all over Joe Biden. Everything about him was virtue signaling. If you didn't notice that, well, I guess you weren't really watching the debate, were you? There's so many things that you can break down and look at, but those two men despise each other, and rightfully so. I'm not going to say that Joe Biden doesn't have some reasons for despising Donald Trump that are legitimate. However, the way this was painted, it sounded like any criticism of Joe Biden was a lie and was unfair and was Donald Trump being aggressive, despite the fact that it was more than likely true. The people up in the stratosphere of the political parties do have access to millions of dollars, and they like anybody, squanders their money. So when Donald Trump was accusing Joe Biden's son of getting money from Moscow and asking him what he was doing about it, Joe Biden didn't answer. He avoided answering, and it was either before or after, I'm not exactly sure, but he actually accused Donald Trump of not answering questions, along with the host. And it's like, there's a kind of a double standard here. You're deliberately ignoring when Joe Biden doesn't answer a question, and he spills out his rhetoric. I'm here for the American people, blah, blah, blah. I will accept the results, blah, 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 blah. There's been an institution since the American Civil War, the military servicemen. Is that not legitimate and all that kind of stuff? It's like, you can't be supporting organizations like Antifa, which he claimed didn't exist. But no, if you watch the television, it does exist. And it does have a very anti-Trump sentiment to it, and a very destroying American history. And then he brings up the American Civil War and talks about the voting there and how that was legitimate. It's like he's playing to the advantages of everything he can. Like I said, he's gathering up the leaves and the trash and trying to build a reputable chance at gaining the presidency with food scraps, essentially. I don't know. Donald Trump has never seemed like he has any cognition problems. You may not like some of the things he has to say. You might not find his jokes funny. You might find his sarcasm irritating. But you can't have Sleepy Joe behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler. You can't have it. Because surely something, unforeseen will go wrong. I mean, COVID is an example of something going wrong. But guess what? When something goes wrong, it can always get worse. And, I'm not even going to talk about, Joe Biden's creepy past. But yeah, he's done some unreputable things for sure. And, he's living off borrowed time. That's what it is. I don't think he has the cognitive ability to be president. That's my opinion. Probably should have watched more of the debate. I didn't. I don't think a lot of people did, and the people that did watch a lot of it are probably kind of irritating people anyway, and you wouldn't really want to talk to them about the debate. But we'll see where this goes. But Donald Trump 2020, 4 more years. That's what I think. Anyway, talk to you people later. Have a good one, and good night.